Hello everyone. I believe now actually you can hear me okay and see me as well. So please make yourself comfortable and sit back and relax. There's a few interesting questions we have today. One of them is applied to many people, and actually most of them apply to many people, and almost everyone, whoever I think I know of or I can think of. There's one question is that most people ask is what is my diet? What is my diet? What is in terms of as a yogic food or my personal diet is? Because there's lots of yogis I know who actually also smokes, take drugs. I remember last week we talked about somebody doing 5 yoga postures is not classified as yogi. But there's no harm calling yourself yogi. Lots of people have their birth name yogi, but despite they may not even know the alphabets of yoga or understand yoga at all. So point is, I can only talk for on my personal yogic diet. I know lots of yogis lives quite strict kind of life as well. But yoga is never teaches you to be dirty. Point one. Remember, I know lots of people saying when you practice yoga, you have to look like hippie. You have to look like completely homeless, basically. Or you have to look like a sadhu, like a monk living in the street, somebody who's suffering. Practicing yoga itself, not a suffering, it is a joy. Second, yoga improvises itself on saucha, which is cleanness, physical cleanness as well as mental cleanness. It does not say that you have to be Rastafari. You have to be somebody who living on the street. Bill only defines you that you are an yogi. Some of the yoga people I know, they smell so bad. You can't even go sit down next to them because they stink of onion and garlic from the mouth. And his body odor as well as the body perspiration impurities. When you are stressed, your body smells. When you eat food, your body smells. Your body odor change. Your perspiration changes. Your body is producing scent constantly. When you're in fear, anxiety, stress, they all have effect. How do you smell? How your body odor is? And once based on your body odor, you attract people. You attract animals. You think you like one person one day, you don't like the person next day. My energy change. Your energy vibration, how do you define the energy change? You have not found any other way. You probably notice the person's behavior change based on the food, but same time, the body odor changes as well. The perspiration, the smell of the body changes. So when you practice yoga, your body odor changes to a divine smell almost. Slowly, your body starts smelling like a flower. You start blooming of life. You start blooming from the prana. And that what creates a magnetic attraction, the draw. Like you can see thousands of flowers in the field, but despite some flowers may have a good smell, some of them may not have it. They look pretty only. So the what smell flower, smell booster is there is the the scent is coming out of flower, I can assure you if somebody had the ability to smell, they will turn their head around and they will look where this smell is coming from. And that's what yoga gives you the ability. And that's what also happened with your food. That will also happen, the thoughts that you feed to your mind. So food, important part, your food should be sattvic. Your food should be sattvic as a yogic food. You should not starve yourself either, or neither overeat. Some people think when practicing yoga, I just finished my yoga class, I have to eat a bit more extra because I have just done exercise. Wrong approach. You should only eat. You never born with a bowl. It's not about what you eat, the amount you eat is also very important, and when you eat is also very important. Sometimes you have a fixed routine. It's important to have routine if you are a worker, or it's a wrong statement to make, but is that if you are just only a slave to a work, whatever you are doing, not to the life, remember. If you think your existence is only to work, in that situation, you have to think very differently. But if you only living to eat, is also different. You are eating not even mindful. That's not classified as an eating food. That will not be classified as yogic food. So if you eating a food, don't go for the biggest bowl or biggest plate. Eat what your body can process. Eat what your body needs or requires. Maximum amount you should eat is 32 spoonfuls, not more than that. You can eat what you take in a hand, eat from the one hand. And that will be unhygienic classified because you have to use a spoon and fork, knife. Because the moment you have something else between your food and your mouth device, you have missed one sense. Your hands also have a glance. They also assess what is good or what is not good for you to eat as well. So I will advise, prefer not to eat too much. Personally, what I eat, I don't eat onion, no garlic, no mushrooms, no unnecessary junk food, not processed food, not canned food, not food from frozen food, not packaged food, off the shelf, long life food. None of that are my dietary requirement. E-numbers, take them out of your list. Unwanted flavors, take them out of your list. Anything that can give a food to a long life, the moment you see the expiry date can last 1 year, can you imagine that how long that food will last inside your belly? So don't eat at all. Those things are not in my dietary requirement or in my diet plan, basically. Mostly food I eat, I know what the source is, I cook. And make sure everything prepared fresh. So eat quantity and eat quality. Not to eat too much food to fill yourself and then start almost falling asleep on the chair, or when you get up, you walk like almost a hippopotamus, eating quite a lot of food when you can't even walk. So eating quantity is also important as well as the quality of food you eat. So take the onion, garlic, mushroom out of your diet, point 1. Sometimes I see people the wrong combination. They mix so many things. Also, I see sometimes people eat everything in one time because you should give it a gap. You are not filling your motor vehicle tank because you never know when the next fuel station is going to be. That used to be back in the days when your ancestor went to work in the field in the forest. So you eat a good meal in the morning, that you are done for the rest of the day. You live at home. You have a food, you can take it with you. If not, don't eat a big meal in the evening. That's one thing you should avoid, not to have a big main meal in the evening. Morning food should be like baby. Midday meal should be like a royal. In our system, we call it balbho, like a baby food, is a breakfast. You're breaking the fast. Remember the word. It's called breakfast. You've been fasting. The time you went to sleep at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, usually, for 12 hours you have not eaten, or 14 hours you have not eaten. Minimum you should have gap of 14 to 15 hours between the last meal and the first meal overnight. So you're breaking the fast. When you break the fast, if you eat too much, it's not going to be healthy for you. So eat like a baby, very little amount, but easy digestible and have a good loss of nutrients in there. Midday meal should be like a king, like a royal Rajbhog, but not spicy. Doesn't mean you have to eat Rajasic food or Tamasic food. Food is still Sattvic. In the evening, should eat like poor, very little as possible. Almost not even cook a meal if you can. Eat before sunset if possible. Again, no meat, no eggs, no fish. Not any substance that have taken somebody's life for good. People say about harm, you should not only go that something have harmed somebody, important, but not somebody have died for your meal. It should not be your diet plan. That is a yogic diet. You're practicing a non-violence. You're practicing ahimsa in your diet, because if you practice non-violence with your food, I can assure you that will reflect in your life. You will not have non-violence. You will not have a violence in your action. You will have non-violence in your day-to-day dealing as well. So bring the non-violence in your diet, and you will see the miracle start happening. Some people say the lots of people I know in India, they are very violent, but they are eating non-violent food. My friend, they are not practicing yoga. Or lots of people I know, they are very cranky as well, but they are practicing no harmfulness. They're not practicing non-violence. Remember, they're practicing non-violence from the place of violence. Their intention is filled with an anger, not with acceptance and self-transformation. Let's say I turn tomorrow to a veganism or vegetarianism. It's not a ism, it is a lifestyle. The moment you make it into rules and regulations and condition, you are about to fall soon and later. Or you will build so much anger inside you, hatred inside you towards to people who does not live like you. You still have acceptance towards them. You adapt your life and allow other people to adapt as well. You create a possibility for them. So if I turn to a vegan or a vegetarianism, then I say people who eat meat, I don't like them. People who eat honey, I don't like them. People who eat milk, yogurt, dairy, I don't like them. I built a negative resonance, negative energy or aggression towards them. So while I'm eating food, I'm still living with aggression, living with the violence towards it. I am having a balanced thought. So balance is not just only an action, but it's also in your thinking capacity. So yogic food, I take a good breakfast. I make my own porridge. I don't buy container ready-made porridge for you. People can't be bothered now. They chop the vegetables. They want somebody to chop the vegetables for 10 days before, and then they cook them. Can you imagine the moment you chop the vegetable, how much pesticide or the stabilizers have been put on it to stay with more longer? So there's lots of things about yogic diet we can talk about, but it's enough for today. I eat only clean food, and that self-life is only maximum few hours. No meat, no animal product, no animal fat, no garlic, no onion, no mushroom, pure Sattvic diet. I have one more thing. Maybe occasionally every sometime I might take a 100% cacao. No, occasionally, not an indulgence to it. It is sometimes people bring a gift. I might take some, but not all the time. I don't need much chocolate either. Drop the sugar, not good for you. If you suffer from lower back pain, drop the bread and sugar, nada. Do not have them in your diet. But if you eat wheat and rice, make sure you soak them. You do exercise, but it's different. We can talk that about some other time. Other question I had, somebody asked today, how to be at peace with our sexual desires and sexuality, and get rid of guilt, anxiety around it. You are doing something wrong, my friend, to feel guilty. If you are having a guilt around sexuality, you should not do it at all. First of all, there's several questions. Your education is poor about sex or sexuality. It's supposed to be sensuality. Sex is not a something you do, something you feel. Is the sensuality. Second part, if you are having a guilt around it, you are doing something wrong. Educate yourself. Do you feel guilty after eating food? Only if you have overeaten it and you feel it next day, you feel guilt that wish I have not eaten it. So understand your senses. That will be the way to get rid of the guilt around sexuality. Sometimes religious element can also make you feel guilty. Your parents, or if you grown up even in school, or stories, indirect stories, your expectation around it can also make you feel guilt, can create anxiety as well. Also, religious element can also make you feel anxious and guilt around it and shame around it. So first you need to understand why you are having sex. If you're just having it, sake of having it, it's better not have it. Desires can be transformed with the yogic practices, meditation, or if you can develop the ability to transcend your energy your desires will automatically go away. One part you must understand, yoga, it never says not to have sex. It talks about brahmacharya. Once your mind is engaged in a Brahma, which is your inner self and your higher self, automatically your energy that goes out your senses will start coming back to it, retrieving back to its source. If your mind is not engaged with yourself or a higher taste, you are looking for something meaningful. Sometimes you are looking for joy, looking for pleasure, looking for something higher taste to your senses, something very blissful, the way you lose your ego, where you lose completely, your mind dissolves. That state you want to reach to it. Only time you can find that during pleasure, when you come or when you having a sex. But if you can make the same experience through the meditation, you can overcome your sex desires. Similarly, people who does not have, they develop indulgence towards food as well. There is a very good, healthy relationship with the food and sexuality. But about anxiety around it, you need to learn to meditate, learn to feel the sensuality, not perform as an act. Sexuality is not act, it is a sensuality. Also, when you are in any relationship or in a whatever you are doing, if you cannot connect with it, if you cannot embrace it and accept it, it is going to create a guilt. And society always teach you something negative about sex. They think it is something wrong to do it. Religious elements also comes along with it, but yoga teaches you to be brahmachari, not to the sex. That's why in a Vedic system you have a 4 grastas. You have the 4 ashrams. Your brahmacharya ashram means time of your life when you are developing the awareness how to harness the energy within your body, how to understand yourself, who you are, understand your Brahman inside you. Education time. Then you can choose to become sannyasi or banprast or go into a grasta ashram. Grasta ashram, you can still maintain your yogic practices, you can still maintain your spiritual practices, living in household life. You can't have household life and feeling guilty about it, because your knowledge of brahmacharya comes in the way, and knowledge of yogic practices comes in the way. Remember, in the Vedic system, not a single saint, rishi, or demigod, or divine beings, even the gods, are without a family. They have a family, they have children, they have their descendants. So how is that possible? There's many stories that somebody just miraculously looked at and baby popped out, or somebody get pregnant by even touching. Now that science doing those things, doctor go along, only touch the person without having sex, injecting. So those things were probably could have been also in the past as well. But we don't need to go that far. So if you're having anxiety around it, learn to relax, my friend. Practice yoga nidra. Practice body awareness. Practice vipassana. Understand your sensation. Come to Pranayama yoga. We make so many noises. Lots of people are so embarrassed even. They're embarrassed to make the noise even by themselves, because the neighbors are hearing in the middle of the day what this person is up to. They're going crazy. 3 times in a day sometimes, or at least 2 times. Can you imagine? So, first of all, come over your embarrassment. Come over your religious belief. Come over your anxiety, what you're doing. Develop a sensuality around it. Not perform a sex. Develop a sensuality. Once the act coming from place of sensuality and acceptance, you will not feel guilt afterward. You will not feel anxiety afterward. You will only feel anxiety if you're doing, like, you will feel anxious if you try to do shoplifting. You will feel anxious if you're doing something that you believe it is criminal to do. That is education, your alteration of perception. So if due to the religious viewpoint, the social viewpoint, or your personal understanding about what you're doing, and you know that you're doing something wrong, you cannot accept it, what you're doing, you will feel guilt and anxiety around it. Because you are not connecting, you're just doing. You are doing out of addiction or expected of you. Your senses are ruling you, not you are part of it. Your senses are ruling. You're doing out of greed. The point is there's greed. And there's a attachment, addiction. Those things come from place of insecurity, place of attachment, place of something to do, or looking for some good, meaningful, higher taste, but you cannot find it in meditation or yoga. So you either turn to find the pleasure in the food, you go into a food coma, or you go into a sex coma. There's only 2 places you end up. But if you can find the same place through the meditation, once you have tasted the higher taste through the meditation, even the sex will not make you feel guilt or anxiety around it. So that is enough on that topic, I think. I go back to everybody does it, but everybody do it behind the curtains, close the doors. Nobody want to talk about it. And you are a product of it. If your parents have never done it, you will not be here today. But you probably never talk to your parents about it because it's shameful or embarrassment, and you feel bad about it. And everybody deep down in their head thinking 24/7, but they will not talk about it. Even the nuns in the church who practicing brahmacharya, they do it too. Lots of sannyasis, I know, they are practicing brahmacharya, monk, they masturbate themselves. They are looking with dirty eyes. If they accepted their sexuality, there will not be a child abuse. There will not be a abuse to other people. And especially in the schools, especially in the monastery, especially in the, religious concept of it. If that exists, because people do not accept their sexuality, they suppress it. They have not built a healthy relationship to it. The moment you build a healthy relationship and I give simple example. Do you feel guilty after eating a food? Probably not. Only if the food is giving you a indigestion or constipation. Simple as that. Your sex organs are a sense. They are not a thing, they are a sense in your body. A source of energy, transmission of energy, understanding of energy. It is not an object in the body. So learn to embrace the energy of your sexuality with understanding, with connection to it. not performance of it. Thank you on that topic. And I have if it does not make sense to you, Ekaki, that I don't really know if the person is real or somebody just taking the fun. It's called Ekaki Zero, but maybe it's a fake account. But somebody asked the question, but is that I like to answer it anyway. So if they still not understanding, please do ask back again. And I'm sure Michael is very happy to hear about it because he lives 24/7 for it. Then nothing else goes through his head. Next question ahead. I don't understand how to keep constance and the samadhi energy. Practice more. Live it, not practice it. The day you start living, you will be able to maintain the energy of samadhi. You will be able to maintain your consciousness. If you are just practicing to check the box and job done as your duty, that will be very hard to maintain, my friend. Then the question came from somebody called Austin. There's a couple of questions somebody asked. Can I give a beginner's guide for meditation? I will post a video for beginner's guide on YouTube in the next couple of days. That will be available for people. I have one more question somebody asked. It is about my Power of Relaxation book. Somebody asked a question from have been reading the Power of Relaxation book, the book some point. And they read the question, they sent a message. I love your book and has been very good in my practice of meditation and mindfulness. It took me 4 years to write it. It is not something I go on a weekend holiday and walk away with the book in my hand, give it to publisher. Even during that period, I wrote that book, there was a publisher change 3 times. There was some DBP and then somebody else, then became finally a Watkins. So the company, I signed the contract with the company is something different. I've signed the contract 3 times to make sure that the life of the book was for 3-4 years. Took a long time, my friend, but I hope you enjoy, James, and continue practicing. One interesting thing that you stressed in the book, I did not stress anything in the book, my friend. It is mindfulness and meditation, not stress. But is experiencing both my positive and negative emotions and never suppressing them. Your emotions are neither negative nor positive. Emotions are just a movement of energy is happening in your body. Your attachment or your preference of liking, disliking, make them into a negative and positive. If you like something, some emotions today you are feeling in your body, let's say somebody playing a happy music, you are having happy emotions inside, your ears start feeling pleased with it, you are liking it. It's a love song. And recently you've been dumped by your girlfriend, and you never playing the same song back again, that you meet your girlfriend with the same, when you met your girlfriend with the music of the same theme, and that song reminds you of her, and now your emotions are very negative. And nothing to do with the song, nothing to do with your neighbor. You are so ready almost, you will start screaming to your neighbor, don't play that song. Or you automatically, if you don't do it, you go into a completely different realm. Emotions was there, energy got stimulated before, also now, but your relationship have changed to it. The only thing you need to watch your relationship now, not the emotion. If you have not labeled your preference when the first time that emotion took place, you will not be feeling negative. If you can take away negativity and positivity, branding to your emotions, just only feel them. What is creating, you observe them, this energy is moving, but not to create liking and disliking. Not I like this more, I like this less. I prefer this more, I prefer this less. The moment your mind is in that game, your mind will got you now. Your mind will find every situation, every circumstances to control you, to give you something you like, flashes the card. You are deep in a meditation, mind comes along, I don't want to meditate now. This is what I have something for you. Would you like to come? Next thing you know, you have been swift away, your sense is gone. You start creating a dialogue. So acceptance is very important, not suppression. This has been particularly difficult for me. My negative emotions sometimes overweigh me to the extent that I react negatively to perceived issue, even if they are not real. I know many people like that, my friend James. My mind creates and believes things that are not real, and I sometimes have no control over this. What is your advice? And many thanks for your wonderful book. All you need to do, what you're practicing in the book, implement it into your lifestyle. Not just only practice. Take time. There's a color coded in the book in a section. Spend a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks practicing the first part of the practice. Give it time. Not read through it. I do one today, next one. Don't do the shopping to the book. It has so many practices. You try all of them. Whichever practice takes you deeper, you stay with that practice till your mind starts creating dialogues with it. One way to use the book. Second approach to the book, you go with color coding structure. Start with the first, spend a month or 2 months or 3 months practicing. Can you imagine it took me 4 years to write it? How long you have been practicing? Maybe a year, 2 years. At least practice 4 years with the book. You find out. But go with the color code. 1 month with one color, and you go through it. And wherever you find your mind is finding resistance, whichever triggering the emotions, you stay that chapter a bit more longer. Other one, I will recommend you, whenever you get negative thoughts coming through it, go find a nice ground with no drug needles around, not public path especially, but ground where it's clean. Lift your t-shirt up and take your belly to the Mother Earth and lay down on it and enjoy the belly button connecting with the ground and communication with the earth to your belly. Lay in the front of the body and just take all the awareness into your belly, how your belly is pushing into the earth. Your beat of communication is happening that time. Give all the negative energy to the earth through your belly button. That will be very helpful. I hope that have been productive conversation for all of you. That is enough for today. And see you very soon. Bye.